Meet the author. George Bernard Shaw was born in Ireland in 1856. He is a famous playwright who won a Nobel Prize for his writing. Some of his plays have even been turned into movies. Have you heard of the musical My Fair Lady? That movie is based on the play you are about to read called Pygmalion.
Pygmalion.
"11 a.m. Higgins Laboratory in Wimpole Street. It is a room on the first floor, looking on the street, and was meant for the drawing room. Further down the room, on the same side, is a fireplace, with a comfortable leather-covered easy chair at the side of the hearth nearest the door, and a coal scuttle. There is a clock on the mantelpiece. Between the fireplace and the phonograph table is a stand for newspapers. On the other side of the central door, to the left of the visitor, is a cabinet of shallow drawers. On it is a telephone and the telephone directory. The corner beyond, and most of the side wall, is occupied by a grand piano, with the keyboard at the end furthest from the door, and a bench for the player extending the full length of the keyboard. On the piano is a dessert dish, heaped with fruit and sweets, mostly chocolates.
This is the young woman, sir.
The flower girl enters in state. She has a hat with 3 ostrich feathers, orange, sky blue, and red. She has a nearly clean apron, and the shoddy coat has been tidied a little. The pathos of this deplorable figure, with its innocent vanity and consequential air, touches Pickering, who has already straightened himself in the presence of Mrs. Pierce. But as to Higgins, the only distinction he makes between men and women is that, when he is neither bullying nor exclaiming to the heavens against some featherweight cross, he coaxes women as a child coaxes its nurse when it wants to get anything out of her.
Why, this is the girl I jotted down last night. She's no use. I've got all the records I want of the Lisson Grove lingo, and I'm not going to waste another cylinder on it. Be off with you. I don't want you.
Don't you be so saucy. You ain't heard what I come for yet. Did you tell him I come in a taxi?
Nonsense, girl. What do you think a gentleman like Mr. Higgins cares what you came in?
Oh, we are proud. He ain't above giving lessons, not him. I heard him say so. Well, I ain't come here to ask for any compliment, and if my money's not good enough, I can go elsewhere.
Good enough for what?
Good enough for you. Now you know, don't you? I'm coming to have lessons, I am. And to pay for 'em too. Make no mistake.
Well, what do you expect me to say to you?
Well, if you was a gentleman, you might ask me to sit down, I think. Don't I tell you I'm bringing you business?
Pickering, shall we ask this baggage to sit down, or shall we throw her out of the window?
Oh! I won't be called a baggage when I've offered to pay like any lady.
Motionless, the 2 men stare at her from the other side of the room, amazed.
But what is it you want?
I want to be a lady in a flower shop, instead of selling at the corner of Tottenham Court Road. But they won't take me unless I can talk more genteel. He said he could teach me. Well, here I am ready to pay him, not asking any favour. And he treats me as if I was dirt.
How can you be such a foolish, ignorant girl as to think you could afford to pay Mr. Higgins?
Why shouldn't I? I know what lessons cost as well as you do. And I'm ready to pay.
How much?
Now you're talking.
Sit down.
Oh, if you're going to make a compliment of it...
Sit down.
Sit down, girl. Do as you're told.
Oh!
Won't you sit down?
Don't mind if I do.
What's your name?
Liza Doolittle.
Eliza, Elizabeth, Betsy and Bess. They went to the woods to get a bird's nest. They found a nest with 4 eggs in it. They took 1 apiece and left 3 in it.
They laugh heartily at their own fun.
Oh, don't be silly.
You mustn't speak to the gentleman like that.
Well, why won't he speak sensible to me?
Come back to business. How much do you propose to pay me for the lessons?
Oh, I know what's right. A lady friend of mine gets French lessons for 18p an hour from a real French gentleman. Well, you wouldn't have the face to ask me for the same for teaching me my own language as you would for French. So I won't give more than a shilling. Take it or leave it.
You know, Pickering, if you consider a shilling not as a simple shilling but as a percentage of this girl's income, it works out as fully equivalent to 60 or 70 guineas from a millionaire. How so? Figure it out. A millionaire has about £150 a day. She earns about half a crown.
Who told you I only...
She offers me 2/5 of her day's income for a lesson. 2/5 of a millionaire's income for a day would be somewhere about £60. It's handsome. By George, it's enormous. It's the biggest offer I ever had.
£60? What are you talking about? I never offered you £60. Where would I get...
Hold your tongue.
But I ain't got £60. Oh!
Don't cry, you silly girl. Sit down. Nobody is going to touch your money.
Here,
What's this for?
to wipe your eyes. To wipe any part of your face that feels moist. Remember, that's your handkerchief and that's your sleeve. Don't mistake the one for the other if you wish to become a lady in a shop.
Liza, utterly bewildered, stares helplessly at him.
It's no use talking to her like that, Mr. Higgins. She doesn't understand you. Besides, you're quite wrong. She doesn't do it that way at all.
Here, you give me that handkerchief. He gave it to me, not to you.
He did. I think it must be regarded as her property, Mrs. Pierce.
Serve you right, Mr. Higgins.
Higgins, I'm interested. What about the ambassador's garden party? I'll say you're the greatest teacher alive if you make that good. I'll bet you all the expenses of the experiment you can't do it, and I'll pay for the lessons.
Oh, you are real good. Thank you, Captain.
You're certainly not going to turn her head with flattery, Higgins.
Oh, don't say that, sir. There's more ways than one of turning a girl's head, and nobody can do it better than Mr. Higgins, though he may not always mean it. I do hope, sir, you won't encourage him to do anything foolish.
What is life but a series of inspired follies? The difficulty is to find them to do. Never lose a chance. It doesn't come every day. I shall make a duchess of this draggle-tailed gutter-snipe.
Oh!
Yes, in 6 months. In 3 if she has a good ear and a quick tongue. I'll take her anywhere and pass her off as anything. We'll start today, now, this moment.
Discuss.
1. Describe how Liza talks differently from the way Higgins talks. Find examples from the act to use in your answer. 2. There are 5 acts in Pygmalion. Think about the events in this act and make a prediction about what will happen in the following acts.